Now the San Francisco Bay alone supports a metropolis of over 7 million. I had grown up there, in a town called Portola Valley. The expedition had traveled south toward my neighborhood, unwittingly plodding above the San Andreas Fault to what today is the heart of Silicon Valley. There, the buffcoat soldiers gathered acorns to nourish their famished bodies. By then, they were surviving on gifts from the natives, or else a single griddle cake of flour a day. We know these details because several members of the expedition kept journals. Portolá, his is quite terse, an engineer named Miguel Costanzo, and especially Juan Crespí, the Franciscan friar who was asked to be the expedition's official diarist. The expedition had set off in search of a fabled harbor described in 1602 as the best port that could be desired, by the Spanish explorer Sebastián Vizcaíno. A month's voyage north of San Diego, his 3 ships sailed into a grand bay with a dune shore that made a long curve to the north. It held immense potential, in Vizcaíno's estimation, and he described it glowingly. He named it in honor of his patron, another Gaspar de Zúñiga y Acevedo, the Count of Monterey and Viceroy of New Spain. And Monterey Bay became the legend that the Portola expedition would pursue 167 years later. It was thought that Monterey Bay could resupply Spanish galleons returning to Mexico on the mid-latitude westerlies after trading in the Philippines for fabrics, beeswax, chinaware, silk stockings, and more. Though in fact that trade already was waning with the rise of factories in Europe. Simultaneously, it would be an outpost against Russian fur traders trickling down the north coast. But the Portola expedition was further tasked with scouting sites for possible Catholic missions, which would convert the godless natives and help claim and hold the territory. Portola was provided with some of the official account from Vizcaíno's voyage. Not its entirety, and he didn't have the resulting map, which was kept under lock and key by Spain until the 19th century. All of which, along with Vizcaíno's exaggerations, would cause the expedition a massive headache. They would have trouble identifying Monterey Bay, and would have to journey back to San Diego, regroup, and then a few months later, in April of 1770, make the trek all over again to finally establish California's second presidio and mission in Monterey. Padre Juan Crespí accompanied Portolá on that return expedition, too, and he lived out the rest of his life in Monterey and Carmel, which became the headquarters of Alta California. In his journals, Juan Crespí consistently reports on the number of people in the villages they daily encountered, which seemed an anthropological pursuit to me until I remembered he was counting souls. He traveled to New Spain in 1749, 20 years before the march into Alta California, with a small wave of Franciscans from Mallorca. They were led by the zealous Padre Junipero Serra, lately canonized by Pope Francis, but not without controversy, considering the harsh and abusive means of Serra's colonial miracles. They called each other condiscípulos, or fellow students of the humble teachings of St. Francis of Assisi, and, above all, the word of Christ. Adios, 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 Crespí wrote, as if to Europe in a parting letter. A port official jotted down the only known physical description of him as he boarded an armed merchant ship for the Americas. A middling tall person with black hair and blue eyes, pale-skinned. He was known by his condiscípulos as the Blessed or the Mystic, which suggests their fondness for Crespí and their mild irritation with his dove-like candor, as another padre put it, or a degree of naivete. Apparently Crespí's memory also left something to be desired. He had to read sermons aloud that everyone else knew by heart. But these characteristics would bear the fruit of his California journal. He wrote truly to remember. As the Portolá expedition's official chronicler, it was also his job. He had been specifically charged by the Visitor General of New Spain with recording the good, the bad, and even the indifferent. Yet much of the expedition's journey is left to the imagination. Many exciting details are found in Crespí's journals, grizzly bears, earthquakes, and other close encounters. But when I first read them, at times I wanted to reach through the page, grab Crespí softly by his gray wool frock, and beg, "Padre, tell us more. Show us early California. What else could have been written about this coastline?"